One of the girls said to me that before she started this course, she couldn't even walk down the halls of her high school. And since taking the course, she walks down with pride.
Good afternoon and welcome to the Life Goals Podcast. Today's guest is Holly Carroll, who is a Muskoka Realtor, model, and is passionate about helping young women in business. Welcome, Holly, to the Life Goals Podcast. I'm so glad that you joined us. Really happy that you're my first guest.
I'm so excited to be the first guest.
Awesome. So one of the first things I wanted to ask you is basically what got you into real estate?
Yeah, so I was always in sales for the longest time, and I did like travel sales, and people kept telling me like, you should get into real estate. And I was like, okay, maybe I should get into real estate. So real estate's obviously the highest ticket number to sell.
Right.
So that was one of the reasons, but I've always loved like people and that interaction and just finding them their perfect home and like going through the whole process with them and like building relationships. Right. So that's sort of why I got in real estate.
And have you found like during your time in real estate that you found like the perfect clients to work with or that you really like working with opposed to other ones?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, for the cottage market, I really like the family with the young kids.
Right.
Because, you know, you kind of see them like, you know, enjoying the place and like they're creating memories in their head before they're even made. So my ideal client would kind of be that family.
Right.
But I mean, I don't really want to turn down anybody.
Fair enough. Yeah. Yeah, I think I found out early on within my first few months that like first time home buyers probably weren't for me. I'm fairly analytical and numbers based, and they were a huge challenge. But at some point I'd love to like team up with somebody who's really good, like more of an extrovert, whereas I'm an introvert, and they would be like a rock star with those clients, whereas I'm more like investor focused or recreational focused because it's usually a secondary property.
Yeah, totally. And that makes sense. Like I feel I'm actually better the flip, so maybe we need to pair up.
Maybe.
Right? Because, you know, when people come with me with the numbers, I kind of get a little tripped up.
Okay.
You know, like, of course I can figure that out, but, you know, I'm more about the emotions and the feeling. And that could have to do with, you know, maybe even my gender. You know, a lot of women are better, you know, gatherers, emotional based, and some men are usually better with numbers, like,
right.
You know?
Yeah. Yeah, it's true. Like everybody has their own personality strengths. And one of the things we did at the brokers that I'm at is we did like our Myers-Briggs tests to figure out what sort of personalities we were and how we worked with each other. But it's interesting that you mentioned that. Like, how have you found, like, do you find that there's different challenges being a female in real estate?
Definitely. I mean, I think there's challenges as women in general in the workforce. Mm-hmm. I mean, there's challenges, but there's also perks.
Right.
You know, but you really just have to set the tone going into the sale with that because, I mean, I'm sure a lot of people kind of come to me because I'm a woman, maybe for the wrong reasons. So right. I just have to make sure I set that tone with potential males or anyone that was looking for something more than a home or a cottage. Right. But yeah, there's been its challenges. You know, it still is a dominating male, you know, industry. However, I do feel like women just have that like knack if they know how to, you know, use it and form it.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, I think it's really easy to feel comfortable with a female realtor. I know like when I bought my first house, we had a female realtor and she was very like nurturing and made me feel safe, which was kind of nice.
Right?
She was pretty good.
Exactly.
But yeah, I've seen like different things from OREA or different boards about like safety. Particularly as a female, and I've often thought, because I used to do close protection, which is bodyguarding, before real estate, like offering to go with people on showings, but I've never known how to approach that. So have you ever felt unsafe?
Knock on wood, I really haven't.
Okay. Like
I said, I've kind of set the tone, but I'm sure you've probably seen some things with bodyguard too. So you've been like, oh, this could happen, right?
Right.
I've been fortunate enough to not have anything like that. However, I do have a story.
Okay.
If that's okay.
Yeah.
So I have a story about this guy. Names will be not mentioned.
Sure. Yeah.
But he was a big client, and he was my very first big client in Muskoka, which kind of put me in the Muskoka map.
Right.
And he was a $3 million plus, from the $3 to $5 million range cottage. Okay. And I thought he was really serious about buying a cottage, and I thought he really was serious about having the money.
Yeah.
So we went through all the motions, and I even met his wife and his kids. So I thought, okay, this guy's safe. And a couple weeks in, I got a dick pic. And this guy was not good looking. He was chubby. Like, he should not be sending anyone dick pics.
Yeah.
And I got a dick pic. So the thing is what do? Do you carry on with the sale? Do you cut it off then? Do you notify the authorities? Yeah. I mean, what do you do?
So what did you do?
Well, Oddly enough, I carried on with the sale, but I
Okay.
did bring a male business partner in
Yeah.
to just sort of, be there for it. And we actually ended up getting a deal accepted. But when
Okay.
it came to him getting the deposit, he was nowhere to be found.
Right.
So it almost ruined my reputation here as a beginning real estate agent in Muskoka.
Yeah. Yeah, that's not good.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I don't think you've probably gotten any solicited pics like that from females.
No, I haven't had any photos. I've had like some interesting Instagram reactions to various photos, just like some really inappropriate comments. But yeah, it's definitely, I don't think it's as common. And I think the dynamic is a little bit different too.
Yeah.
A, because I'm a male, and B, because I spent time in close protection and have done martial arts for a long time. When I do go somewhere, I've never felt unsafe. And first of all, I've never felt like something was going to happen. But if it did, I feel like I would be comfortable.
You're prepared, and you're also what, 6'6", 6'5"?
6'4", yeah.
6'4". I mean, I'm tall, but I'm a skinny blonde, so
Yeah.
yes.
Fair enough. But that's good that it didn't ruin your whole Muskoka experience.
Yeah, I mean, you got to roll with the punches anyways, right? The good news is I got to see all these places, and then I got to
Right.
kind of put them on my Instagram, so it kind of looked like I was out there doing stuff in the Muskoka world.
Yeah.
So there were a lot of things I could take from that were good, even though I didn't get the sale.
Yeah.
So I'm still grateful for it. But
Yeah,
I
that's awesome.
deleted the dick pic.
Yeah, and I'm sure now like you would have an idea of what to do if that happened again.
Totally. Yeah, I think I'm a completely different person, actually. It's good that you mentioned that, because I feel like I'm a different person from when I started real estate. More just like at the beginning of my career, I would kind of just like say yes to everybody.
Right.
So I don't think I deserved that dick pic by any means, but maybe my delivery or my presence or the tone that I set is a lot different than it was before,
Right.
potentially. Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Does that make sense? Yeah.
Yeah. I was with Remax before the brokerage I'm at now, and I remember I think it was my first 3 months, I actually fired a client, and we had 1,500 agents, and they were like, no one's ever done this. What are you doing?
Yeah.
But it actually, it set a really healthy boundary for me, and my philosophy is, if something's not working with one client, that time could be better spent
Exactly.
with other clients that it is going to work with. So I might get 2 or 3 sales in the same amount of time that I'm wasting
Absolutely.
with this one.
Absolutely. I spent a lot of energy on this guy, and it went nowhere, really. So I totally agree with you with that. When you're first starting out, you're like, no, take every client. But you're wasting your time. Like you said, you are wasting your time that you could be better spent looking for better clients.
Yeah, because you always have the same amount of time. It's just where to invest it, essentially.
Totally.
So touching on real estate in Muskoka, did you grow up in Muskoka?
I didn't actually grow up in Aurelia.
Okay.
So I kind of call that Muskoka. Especially for people that aren't.
Like adjacent.
Yeah, like you as a local, you're like, that's not Muskoka.
Yeah.
But some people from like the city or something, it's the beginning of Muskoka, kind of, right? So I grew up there, and I grew up on the water. I grew up having, boats and that cottage lifestyle.
Right.
And I always wanted to be a Muskoka agent, like always.
Okay.
Like the dream is to sell Muskoka cottages in the summer, spring, summer, and then go somewhere tropical in the winter.
Yeah, that's
and that
my
would be
idea
the cycle. Right?
Yeah.
But I ended up starting in Toronto because when I started, Muskoka to me wasn't as hot, and I felt like I needed to kind of get my feet wet in boot camp sort of in Toronto.
Yeah, that makes sense. I actually spent some time in Toronto as well. I just couldn't stand the commuting.
Yeah.
So I ended up leaving.
For sure. In Toronto, you couldn't stand it.
Yeah.
Not just back and forth.
Yeah, just like going to different places within the city. It would either be like a 20-minute commute or like a 3-hour commute, depending on who hit who on the 401.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
it was a lot. But yeah, that's cool that you're in Muskoka now.
Yeah, I feel like there's a lot of opportunity for Muskoka real estate agents. Like, obviously, there's a lot of us, but where is there not saturated market? I mean,
Yeah, that's true. Have you noticed a lot of changes within the market as well? Because it used to be dominated by like a few older players in this market, and I feel like it is changing.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like it used to be that old school marketing, that old school people. They had their clients. They didn't really have to do a lot of advertising for themselves. Their clients came to them, or they knew their clients. Jim, Bob, Larry, they hung out with them, right?
Right.
And I think there's a new generation that's coming that's sort of young and hungry like us, and we're just kind of taking over. and they are a little bit older, so they may be ready for retirement.
Right.
Wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
Yeah, and I feel like the demographic of people that are buying cottages has changed as well.
Yep,
We have like younger entrepreneurs that are coming into money, I guess, and want to buy on Lake Muskoka or Lake Rossa or Lake Joe.
Yeah, and I feel like there's a lot more investment properties, like
Yeah.
for Airbnbs and stuff like that. I don't know if that was as big as it was. You know, it was a family cottage, passed down to generations, and now it's like, whoa, well, I need a cottage.
Right.
Everyone needs a cottage.
Yeah.
My friends, you know, our age.
Yeah, that's interesting because Muskoka is one of the places where you're still allowed to do Airbnb. Like
Yeah.
Collingwood has banned Airbnb, at least for now,
Yeah.
but here it's fine, and like the cottages are thriving.
Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy what people are getting for rent.
Yeah.
Like, I had one client that was putting their cottage up for sale for $30,000 a week.
Yeah.
Like, you could buy a cottage for that. Let's talk about buying you a cottage.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I was renting a cottage last month because I was in BC for a while, and I came back and looked at the Muskoka market, and some of them went up to like $100,000 a month that I was
Crazy.
looking at, and like, no, I can't do that.
I know,
It's way
right?
cheaper to just stay in a hotel.
Yeah, it really is.
So yeah,
We're going to have to start doing the commute the other way.
yeah, yeah, exactly. So one of the things that I saw on your Instagram was that you are really active helping women in business. Can you talk a little bit more about that?
Yeah, so I've always had this sort of calling to help women, and essentially that helps me too, right?
Right.
I won Miss Canada Tourism in 2017-18, and that sort of, skyrocketed me into this role model, if you will.
Okay.
And I started this Zoom call group called Women Empower Women. And we meet every other Wednesday, and we talk about a different topic. And it's just all about inspiring, empowering, supporting each other through different struggles of life, also real estate, whatever you want to talk about, we talk about.
Yep.
So that's one thing. And I also have a company called Finding the Beauty Within that I co-founded with my mom.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. And what we do is we do workshops for younger women, the ages of about 11 to 16. And we talk about a bunch of different things. Like, we talk about how to sit like a lady, how to walk with confidence, like, affirmations, how to find their self-worth and self-confidence, and even talk about some teenage suicides and social media and a whole bunch of things that cover just to bring them into the women that they're supposed to be as well.
Oh, that's really cool.
Yeah.
Do you have any like specific stories, like a success story? Or?
I do. I'm glad you asked that. So one of my favorite stories that I like to tell, I did Finding the Beauty Within workshop. The last one I did was in Aurelia.
Okay.
And at the end of the course, we did this big fashion show. And I didn't know this was going to happen, but what my mom did was got all the girls to say something they were grateful for. And that's how we used to start the class.
Okay.
Is say something you're grateful for, just to get in the mood of gratitude.
Yeah, very positive.
Yeah, very positive, right? And so each one of the girls went around and said something they're grateful for about me and the course.
Oh, cool.
And one of the girls said to me that before she started this course, she couldn't even walk down the halls of her high school. And since taking the course, she walks down with pride.
That's amazing.
And everybody was just tearing up. I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah,
I watch the replays of it now and I still cry. And that just gives me so much, power to keep doing this.
Yeah, I'm sure it's motivating when you go through like difficult times, or when something discouraging happens, you can think back to that, or
Totally.
stories like that.
Yeah, and I mean, real estate can get really busy and very stressful. Like last year, I remember my heart beating so fast, I had to pull over. And I'm like, what is this? What is this? And my mom's like, that's stress, Holly. And I'm
Right.
like, oh. So it's nice to have the balance of real estate, but also like you're still giving back and you're still doing good and you're like helping other people.
Yeah.
That is just, that flows better for me, and it helps me, kick ass as a real estate agent as well.
Yeah.
That I get back. So.
Yeah, they're definitely complementary of each other. And
Yeah.
I noticed that you help out locally as well a lot
I do.
outside of those things that you were talking about. So that's pretty
Yeah,
cool.
and I just think, I think that if you want to keep it, you got to give it away. So I want to be extremely successful. So, on a selfish note, I do it for myself, but I also do it because, it makes me feel good. So
Right.
I volunteer to feed the homeless and the less fortunate on Thursdays in Gravenhurst for Gravenhurst Against Poverty.
Okay.
And then I also help with the women's shelter, and we actually just had a pet rescue charity with a bunch of pets running around.
Awesome.
And my girlfriend was singing in her band and just getting the community together, which essentially helps real estate.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, oh, well, what do you do? Well, I'm in real estate. You know, something they might not know, but I just love getting the community together as well as giving back any way I can. Like, there's no charity that I would say no to,
Right.
but those are the three ones that sort of do get me going: is women, pets, and homeless people.
Yeah. Yeah, that's really cool. I think it's really important too, like when you're making goals, even if they're financial goals, to tie them to something that you really care about. Because money is exciting, at least initially, but then after you get the money, you don't really know what to do with it. And then you end up just working and making money and not really accomplishing anything.
Absolutely.
So one of the things that I did, I created a
Excuse me.
a 10-year plan last year, I think it was. And then I tied every financial goal to like something that I wanted to do within the community or by myself.
I love that.
So like one of the first ones was I wanted to sponsor somebody to play hockey. And
I love it.
Just little goals like that, which makes it a little bit more exciting, I guess.
Yeah, the cool thing about the little goals is that you can actually see that grow. So like, did you know who the child was?
I didn't.
Oh, okay.
I used to be the child, so I wanted to do that for somebody else.
Yeah.
Somebody in town, actually, in Gravenhurst, paid for my hockey growing up, and that meant a lot to me.
See? And that's sort of where mine stems from too, is because when I was younger, I wish I had that role model that I'm trying to be now.
Right.
You know, I mean, I did have my mom, which, you know, really helped me, but I wish I had somebody to sort of set that bar. Like, I think especially kids these days, they're scrolling through social media and they see somebody that's not really giving them the right advice, but they look up to them.
Right.
So I really want these girls to look up to me. So with that sort of, you know, responsibility, I got to make sure that I'm that role model, which means giving back, which means, you know, walking with integrity, all of the above.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really cool that you have that relationship with your mom and that you're able to like work together. Have you always been really close with your mom?
Yeah. She's always been the stage mom, is what I call her.
Okay.
So when I was young, I wanted to be a supermodel.
Right.
And she's like, we're going to be a supermodels then. So she's always been right there for me. Any type of dream I've had, she's like, let's do it, even if it sounds ridiculous.
That's awesome.
So she's basically the co-pilot to all of this. And she's really good at community events and planning. So she's a little bit of a secret weapon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's really
Thanks,
cool.
Mom. Hi, Mom.
Can you tell me about like a challenge that you face, whether it be in real estate or with your own businesses or charities?
Yeah, well, I actually kind of have a little bit of a funny story. I'm not sure if it's a challenge. It does go with that, though.
Okay.
You can probably contest to this. I mean, real estate in Muskoka, cottage in general, is different than just a regular residential property, right?
Yeah, totally.
Right?
Yeah, all the riparian rights and different boards you have to contact.
Exactly, and like the waterfront stuff, and right, and septic, and that's where I'm going with this.
Okay.
So I got someone a cottage, okay, and it was a beautiful cottage, and they had a septic tank. Well, I'd never dealt with septic tanks before. Apparently, you're supposed to put in the offer that they should pump the septic tank.
Yes. Yeah.
Well, I just thought that was whatever. Like, weren't they supposed to do that? So I tried to play it off where, oh no, they'll do that. Well, if it's not in the paperwork, they won't do it.
Right.
So right before close, my client goes, well, I'm not buying a house full of So that
Fair,
was,
yeah.
So needless to say, it's not a lot of money. I just had to do it myself.
Right.
But I've come up with a couple challenges that I didn't see before with the cottage market, you know, and just getting out there in a unique way.
Right.
Because there's so many of us. Like, what makes me unique? I don't know, you know, like I do know, but you have to figure that out.
Yeah. Yeah, I've had some challenges with the cottage market as well. And it's really interesting to me because a lot of people will still use a city agent, but the city agents often don't even come up to Muskoka. There's been like new rules and new fines implemented because people from the city were sending their clients without any representation. And yeah, as you said, like they don't have any idea about septic tanks or anything, which can be a huge issue for the client.
Even mortgage agents. I mean, I've found that a lot of my clients are from the city, but they're not using a cottage market mortgage agent.
Yeah.
So they don't know the ins and outs either. And it's not anyone's fault. They just haven't dealt with it before, right?
Yeah. Yeah, one thing I always recommend to people, if they're willing, is get a lawyer that's local or
Yeah.
at least is experienced in the local market, a mortgage broker that's local or experienced in the local market, and then realtor for sure.
Yeah, I
local
agree.
market.
I agree. And I don't think that I would be this successful if I didn't actually plant roots here.
Yeah.
Like if I was a Toronto agent as well as a mortgage agent, or sorry, as well as an agent here, I might not be as successful. You know, you kind of have to be on the grounds,
Yeah.
right?
Definitely.
Like I'm not necessarily, I wasn't born and bred here, but you know, I'm a local here now.
I think everybody has made a mistake
Absolutely.
in real estate or whatever job they're in, I guess.
Yeah.
I think it's universal.
100%. And I think it hits us even harder because we're dealing with people's lives.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If it was just something, whatever, like that's no big deal, it's a mistake. But like I care a lot about my clients, so it weighs on me really heavy if I do make mistakes. Meanwhile, it's not a big deal. Like I paid for the septic, you figured out the appliance, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But you know, like these are our friends now. These are our clients. Like
So what's next for you? Like, what do you have coming up, or what do you have on the go?
yeah, so I'm starting to write a book.
Oh, cool.
And it's called Closing Deals in Heels. I'm
Okay.
glad you asked about that. So it's basically a book that shows how I became sort of the woman I am. And it's meant to inspire other women that are getting into sales, and it's riddled with real estate stories. So it's not necessarily a book you'd pick up if you're in real estate. It
Right.
can also be beneficial for anybody that's in sales or just wants to be, you know, a fierce force in the workforce.
Yeah. I could do deals in heels.
Yeah, you could do deals in heels for sure.
Yeah.
But some of the chapters are like find your tribe, integrity, confidence is sexy, those types of things.
Okay.
So it's you know, it's an inspirational book, but it also shows sort of my struggles as well and sort of how I became like the one that I am now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can you give like a snippet into your struggles and how you became what you are now, or who you are now?
Yeah, I mean, one of the things on a personal note is I gave up drinking completely.
Okay.
So my sobriety date is actually this Friday.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Congratulations.
so thank you. So it's not that I had this terrible problem with drinking, but it slowed me down.
Yeah.
And there were times where when I was drinking, I wasn't the person that I wanted to be.
Right.
You know, and it was fun maybe in my early 20s, but it got old and it wasn't cute anymore.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I couldn't figure out, I was doing all this personal development and I couldn't figure out why I wasn't succeeding. I'm doing this work, I'm learning all this stuff. And I kept hearing like, you gotta stop drinking. You
Right.
just gotta stop. You gotta change position. You know, you gotta stop going out type thing. And as soon as I did, it's like my success skyrocketed. I actually dug down deep. I did the personal growth, but actually did the actions with it.
Right.
Not just the, you know what I mean? Not just the listening
Yeah.
or the reading. You know, I actually, you know, I became that person that I wanted to be. I'm starting to live up to my potential. And I don't think that would have happened if I continued to drink.
Yeah.
You know? And one thing I do say is, it's not that every single time I drank something bad happened, but generally when something bad happened, alcohol was involved.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, and it's always tough to like fully let go of a crutch. I know for myself, I've had various things that I've struggled with, and I always went through a period of like trying to partially let go first
Yep.
and then pursue other things.
Yep.
And for some reason that didn't work out very well.
No.
Until you fully let go of that and go on a different path.
Yeah, and I find like I'm attracting different people in my life. Like everything has changed and it was that one piece. Yeah, so that's kind of a personal thing for me, but it was the best thing that's ever happened to me.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Because like I actually took myself seriously. And now like, well, and obviously alcohol, it slows you down.
Yeah.
We need to be in full speed mode all the time. We're real estate agents.
Yeah, it's
we can't be
depressing,
hungover.
so.
And we're older now. So like the hangover lasts for a few days. Let's be real.
Yeah. Yeah, I had never experienced a hangover until I think it was 3 years ago. I just thought people were lying or like complaining.
Or you maybe weren't drinking enough.
Yeah, or just being like really wimpy about it. And then I had it and I was just like flatlined the whole next day. And like, oh, I don't want this. Drinking's stupid. It's not worth this.
And it's a whole mental effery.
Yeah.
You know, like it wasn't good for my confidence. It wasn't good. And you need confidence in real estate.
Yeah.
Like you do, because if you're not confident, they're not going to be confident in you. You're not going to get anything done. You're going to make mistakes. You know, and I found that I was also doing that, or I needed somebody else to help me. It's like, no, you can do this.
Right.
Yeah, so that was big change for me.
Yeah, no, that's awesome.
And so I talked about that in the book. And, you know, if anybody thinks that maybe they need help to quit drinking, there's lots of places out there that you can get help. You know, if you feel that, you know, you can't seem to stop drinking and, you know, or you drink a little bit too much, you know, maybe it's time to reconsider.
Yeah.
You know, I think that the real estate world is very, you know, celebratory and like, let's party and, you know, we made a deal, but, you know, it's not sustainable.
Right.
It's not. And obviously it's not healthy either. It's poison.
Yeah. Yeah, one of the things actually that I really liked about, I'm with Revel now, and one of the things that drew me in a lot there was they got rid of the reward system or the award system that realtors have. And we have a lot of top performing realtors at our brokerage, but instead of giving everybody an award and bragging rights that none of our customers really understand anyway.
Yeah.
We do like an event or a charity and we donate all that money, which is really cool.
Oh, that's such a cool idea. Yeah, because it's really just this bragging right that people use. Like, I mean, I can print off an award and put it on my social media. Nobody cares.
Yeah, you can give yourself a diamond award. And no one has any idea what that means.
Give myself a diamond award tonight.
There you go.
But yeah, I love that. I love that. I love giving back, and I love it when everybody comes together and gives back.
Yeah.
So it sounds like your brokerage is a good brokerage for
Yeah.
that. And you know what? I do have to say something else.
Okay.
I just love that, you know, I'm from a different brokerage, you're from a different brokerage, but you decided to have me on. And I think that's really cool because I'm a big advocate for collaboration versus competition, because there's plenty of it to go around. So we might as well help each other, help the community, and help some people buy some cottages all along the way.
Yeah, I think
You know?
one thing I noticed about people that are really successful in real estate is they are very collaborative with other realtors. I think it's pretty short-sighted to think like, oh, everybody's my competition, because at some point you're probably not going to be representing both sides and you're going to have to work with somebody else.
Absolutely.
And you probably don't want them to hate you.
Absolutely. Well, exactly. And I think a lot of agents do have that mentality.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, oh, they got that instead of me. You know?
Yeah, I don't know. When I was living in Toronto, I don't know how many times I got yelled at from Muskoka agents. I won't name any of them.
No, of course not.
For like not using them and commuting. And I'm like, I'm from Muskoka. Like I know this area, but they were still mad.
I know, right?
But the thing is, it's usually the agent that's doing like 1 or 2 transactions a year that's angry. It's not.
Yeah, he's not really angry at you.
No.
He's angry about his success.
Yeah, it's a lot easier. I think in general, it's easier to blame other people than it is to take responsibility and do the work to make yourself successful.
Exactly. And I think that, you know, that just goes right back to me becoming a better woman. Like, I couldn't blame anybody else for that. You can't blame anybody else for your success. You really can't. You get up, you do the work, you give back, you care for others, you collaborate instead of compete, and Bob's your uncle.
Yeah, obviously everybody has different factors and different hindrances, but ultimately, like, you have the power, and if you decide to be a powerful person, then you can overcome a lot of things.
Yeah, I feel like kindness goes a lot further as well.
Have you ever had comments that are a bit frustrating? Like, I know for me, whenever I talk to people, they'll ask about the market, and they're like, oh, it's so busy, like, you're doing so well because the market's crazy. And I'm like, well, it's actually really hard right now because there's no inventory. You know
what I really don't like, oh, real estate agents, what do you guys have to do? Like, they think that we do nothing. They think that we show up, we show the place, and we get to ride out around on boats, and then we sign the deal. Like, it is a lot harder than most people think.
Yeah, it's true.
So that's a little frustrating.
I do like the boats, though.
I know. Well, yeah, we're definitely going the boats. But they don't really see the back end and how stressful it is. Like you said, like, that appliance thing probably kept you up at night. Like, there is a lot of stress. Like, I had to pull over because I thought I was having a heart attack. Yeah. There's a lot of stress that we go through to make these things go. And for people to say that, you know, oh, real estate, and how hard could it be? It ticks me off.
There's also the feeling, especially when you're starting out and you don't have many transactions, the feeling that you could go through the majority of the process and then everything could fall apart and you don't get paid for that like 3-month process that you just did.
Yeah, so I've switched the mental state on that.
Okay.
So I used to think that, like, because I worked with clients for 2 years and I was showing them cottages almost every weekend. And I'm thinking, do I cut these people loose? Yeah. Do you know what I mean? So I'm kind of now trying to find the glory and the perks of that wasted time.
Okay.
For one, I get to see the market. So
Yeah.
when people do ask me, oh, have you seen such and such? Yeah, I did see it actually, because I had to
Yeah.
show this client that's never going to buy. But, like I've kind of gotten around that, because there
Right.
is seemingly a lot of wasted time
Yeah.
in real estate.
Yeah, I had to shift my perspective with that as well. I kind of shifted it to it's invested time.
Yeah.
So if you look at the statistics, like say you close 1 in every 3 transactions. So
Exactly.
1 falls through, that means you only have 1 more, and
One's
then the
coming
next
up.
one's going through.
And actually, the clients that I was talking about that I was showing for 2 years, we started at under $1 million and we ended up at 3.2.
Oh, okay.
So wasted time? I don't think so.
Yeah.
Because we
Yeah,
moved
basically,
them up.
it was basically 3 transactions
Basically
at that
three
point.
transactions, exactly. So we're really those people that are planting, and we don't see the roots until, we don't see anything until the flower sprouts, but really there's roots being made.
Yeah, and I think that's applicable to all business in general.
Fair.
There's always like a growth period where it feels like you're not gaining any traction, but then you get further down the road and things just start happening,
Yeah.
and you get a little bit overwhelmed and realize that you put in those roots and things actually grew.
Exactly. So for anyone watching this podcast, stick with it.
Yeah.
Stick with it. You only have to drive around for 2 years. But yeah, like real estate is tricky to stay with
Right.
if you're starting,
Yeah, the majority of people do leave.
Yeah, exactly.
So one other thing I was going to ask is, you mentioned that you quit drinking. So are there activities that you do now, like for fun around Muskoka or just in general?
Yeah, I mean, I still pretty much do the same thing except for go
Just no
out
drinking.
and drink. Yeah, I mean, obviously there's a lot of restrictions, but I love
Right.
boating. Like, I love anything to do with boating,
Yeah, me
paddle
too.
boarding, paddleboarding, canoeing, the whole thing.
Have you tried whitewater kayaking?
I haven't.
That's
Are we
pretty
going?
sweet. We can.
Okay, yes. Podcast on the road. Where is
Yeah.
that? Is that in Muskoka?
It's in like Halliburton area.
Cool.
So I go to Minden. I actually did a project. I was security supervisor for the Pan Am Games a few years ago.
Cool.
And it looked really easy and really fun. So I'm like, oh, I'll jump in a kayak and go down the rapids. And
No.
it's not as easy as it looked. And I still don't really know what I'm doing. But yeah, it's a lot of fun. It's like
You went by
kayak.
yourself?
No, I took my friend. He got injured.
You still there?
Sorry, Mitch.
Yeah, we still apologize for that.
Yeah, but it's really fun. It's like kayaking, but faster, essentially.
Of course, yeah. I didn't even realize that was there. Well, we talked about tree top trekking.
Yeah.
There's a lot of wonderful things to do in Muskoka. And you know what? I like that you asked that too, because I'm actually doing more stuff. Like, I'm doing more activities. I don't
Yeah.
wake up with a hangover. Like,
Right.
and I love outdoor stuff. Anything outdoor. I love hiking.
Yeah.
We're going whitewater rafting. I'm not that much of a thrill seeker.
Okay.
I think I'll just do the roller coasters for now.
Roller coasters are good. Yeah.
But we'll see. I've actually jumped off the stratosphere in Vegas.
Okay. I don't know
And
what that
it's-
is, but Gabe does.
Yes, Gabe does. Gabe's the camera guy behind the scenes, by the
Yeah,
way.
Gabe is behind the scenes here.
It's basically that like Space Needle on the strip.
Okay.
And you free fall down, and then the cables kind of like slow you down. So it was pretty cool. I mean, it was a little bit rushed. I had a couple drinks before I went though. Got to go
That's
back
fair.
sober.
Yeah, I haven't really traveled at all. That's something
Yeah.
that I would like to do, and something that I planned on doing, and then COVID happened, so
course.
I didn't travel.
I'm actually going to finish my book to Costa Rica to an all-women's writing retreat at the end
cool.
of February. Yeah.
That's exciting.
Yeah. So hopefully they'll let me in.
Yeah. I'm sure they'll let you in. It's getting back.
It's getting back, right? So I'll have to give you all my clients if I can't get back.
Sounds good. Yeah. I'll give a great referral fee.
Thank you.
But yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah. So my book is going to be released hopefully by the end of the summer. It's called Closing Deals and Heels.
Okay.
If any women out there would like to join our group, it's called Women Empower Women on Facebook, Women Empower Women Co. on Instagram. And if you want to use my services in real estate, no dick pics, please. I work for the agency, and our office is in Bracebridge.
Well, yeah, thanks so much for coming on. I
Thank
really
you so
appreciate
much.
it. It was really nice seeing you.
Thank you for having me. Okay, high five.
All right.